Hey, welcome back. This is Project 2. We're right here at the beginning of that Project 2 where I kind of summarized the previous equation or formula. That's called an explicit. It explicitly allows you to jump to whichever one you want. But sometimes that, actually in most cases, that's not how we think. If I say to you, find the fifth term of something where I give you the first two, in most cases, you are going to just simply fill in the gaps. You're going to say, well, the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one. I didn't ask for the third and fourth, but you found them because it was easier for you just to click right along one after the other. And that kind of thinking is called recursive thinking. That's how spreadsheets think, it's how computers think. You can just continually add or subtract the same amount each time. And it works beautiful. Again, it's how we think, it's patterns. It just doesn't work very well if I want to know the 1000th term. You wouldn't want to sit there and just count off one at a time. You're going to say there's got to be a better way to jump to it. But if you want to know a bunch of them, or just maybe very quickly another term, maybe the 10th one, you just might think recursively. In fact, some of the homework that I used, if I wanted to jump forward, I used on the calculator. I just pressed enter a whole bunch of times until I got to that term that I wanted. And that's called recursive thinking. It makes sense here with 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. We just add 2 each time. What did I do to the first term to get to the second? I added 2. What did I do to the second to get the third? Added 2. What did I do to the third to get the fourth? Added 2. As long as the two terms are next to each other, I get from one to the next just by adding 2, and it works out beautifully. So then when we start to get some variables in, it gets a little bit confusing. But if I am at the nth term, what do I have to do to get the n plus 1 term? Well, again, it's just add 2. And it's this now, next kind of thing. If now I'm here, what do I have to do to get the next thing? If I am now right here, if I add 2 to that now, I will get the next term. So we end up with what looks to be here. Make sure you see this. This is n minus 1. If you have a term, if you add whatever that common difference is, that will take me to the next one. What's the next term number after n minus 1? That would be n. What would the next term after n be? n plus 1. So that's the idea of how that process works. Don't let this notation be too confusing for you. Recognize that this is already how you think. 5, 10, 15, 20. You already came up with 25, right? You're just thinking along that building as you went. You're not processing through it this way, but whenever we communicate stuff, unfortunately, sometimes it gets more complicated. So, all right, there are a bunch of word problems on the next page. Email me with questions on those if you have them. In fact, I don't think anyone has sent me questions on these. They've been pretty basic and pretty straightforward. So I think that's it. I'll see you at project number 3.